Hi, it's Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go ahead and get that claimed. Smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Hi, it's your Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. We're releasing this on July 1st, right before the 4th of July holiday. And that has always meant that we are at halftime in our year 2022. So what I'm going to devote a majority of this episode to is really making the case why you need to make this a must, do a mid-year review process. Not only that, but I'm going to gift you the same process that I use and that all my clients use. So, and let me just say this real quick. For some of you, this may sound pitchy. You got to remember, there's nothing to sell here. It's free, but I'm going to kind of walk you through why it's important. What most advisors do, human beings do, when we enter a new year, right, we come up with a list of goals, right? We have business goals, personal goals, things like that. And shockingly, how many of us forget them come, let's say the calendar turns to February. So what we want to do at the midpoint of the year, after 2 quarters, is we want to take inventory and have a thorough, well thought out, intentional process to determine where we are, what's working, what's not working, what goals are still relevant, what goals are not, what new goals we have, and what changes that we need to make. So what again, if you're listening to this, you'll hopefully get a copy of this anyway. So you're going to get access to this document. If you're watching the video, you'll see it, right? This is our strategic planning system review and benchmark. This is what we use every year for business planning. And then what I always recommend to clients and members is to go ahead and do this mid-year. And as you can see, there are 3 elements, right? We're going to do a narrative. We'll do some KPIs, and then we're going to do some benchmarks. So first off, why do we do a narrative? We do a narrative because it's a form of journaling. When you write about your first half, right, and some questions. What are you most proud of? What are you frustrated with, right? What do you have to do different? It's like a report. And the way I always frame this report is like if you had a board of directors, and you were going to give them a report on the business results for the period. In this case, the period's first half of 2022. You would get up there and maybe have a deck or whatever, and you would do a report. Hi, Coach Joe Lucas here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. If you're in one of our mastermind groups, this is the opportunity. You're going to get to do this report, right? You're going to come onto a Zoom and give us your narrative. So I find that journaling and doing a narrative is very cathartic. It helps you kind of crystallize things. It gets your emotions on paper, which is what we like. And it's just a very good therapeutic process, right? So that's step one. Now, number two, again, if you're watching the video here, right, you'll see that we have all these different KPIs. I'm not going to bore you in this segment with those. You'll have access to them. And by the way, when I say you have access to them, I also have narrated the masterclass, so the walkthrough. So it's not just here's the document, good luck. I'm going to walk you through it as if you're a client. So again, nothing to sell here. So we're going to have you do some KPIs. Now, what are some of the KPIs? We're going to look at revenue, income, new households, how many workouts, how many times did you review your business plan. There are, probably about 15 or 20 KPIs. Real quick, if you don't have this, and if you can find it quickly, great, but I don't want you to spend days trying to figure something out. That's counterintuitive, right, in that regard. And then the last thing we're going to do is that we have, different benchmarks. And what you're going to do with those benchmarks is that you're going to grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And there's 18 of them, by the way. And you're going to give yourself a narrative why you did and what you need to do to improve. I will be sharing strategies in the masterclass on how to do that. Okay? Now, why is this important? Like I said, we want to make sure that there's two things that advisors do, human beings in general. What's number one? Something that works so well, stop doing it, right? So we want to memorialize those things that work well so you never stop doing them. Number two, we're going to give you a gap analysis on what you need to do. So here, again, whether you're watching this on YouTube, podcast, whatever, there's a link to get access to this. You will find it in Magellan Network. Again, it's our free version, and you will find it in the Start Here new member area. So just look for that there. And I will be with you all next week. Start the second half game plan, right? We'll talk a little bit about that. And any questions, reach out to myself or my team. Enjoy your 4th of July holiday here in the United States. And make sure you carve out time to memorialize your first half of 2022. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.